This section's on 3.4, properties of logarithmic functions. So what we're going to do is we're going to take three different properties of logarithmic and work with those. So two things that we're going to do with the properties is we're going to condense it and then we're going to expand it. So to condense it is going to be something similar to this. We're going to make it nice and tight, and then to expand it, we're going to obviously make the equation bigger than what it's supposed to be. Okay? So the first property is the product property. So the product property says that if I have log base b, and then we have is r times s, and to expand it, we're going to do then is expanding of the multiplication turns into a plus. So what I usually think of this is like the log base b, we're going to distribute that. If I distribute this part right here to the r, that becomes this right here, the log base b r. And then if I distribute that to the s, right, then we would have then is log base b times s. So then to separate that as a plus. Now if we go this way and go to that direction of condensing, what you're basically going to do is you're going to take this log base b and you're going to factor it out. So both of them have that in common, so you write it once right there, and then from there plus turns into multiplication. So then you would put that together, and that's how you would condense it going that direction. Okay? The next property is called the quotient. So the quotient is the division, so the same thing. We're going to take the log base b, we're going to distribute to the r, so that becomes this part right here. The division sign right here turns into a minus when you expand it, and then log base b times s right there, that's going to be this part right here. Now if I want to go from expanded to condensed going that direction, then I would do the same thing. I would factor out the log base b, write it out once because that's what you did, you factor it out, and then minus turns into division. So you have to remember these signs right there. So plus turns into multiplication, minus turns into division. And this one I usually like because the division and the minus, they're very similar signs, so just remember it that way. Okay? And the last property that we have is called the power property. So the power property says that if I have log base b r to the c power, what you do is you take the c and you want to bring it to the front right there. So we bring it to the front right here, and then that becomes log base b times r. Okay? And then going backwards, then I can take, if there is a number in front of the word log, or then I can just bring it back here as an exponent up there. Okay? So now using all three of these properties now, let's go ahead and do the format. So we're going to ask you to take this and we're going to expand it. So since the expansion on this right here, this is all multiplication. It's 8 times x times y to the 4th. Multiplication, when we expand it, turns into a plus right there. So again, then we're going to take this log. Now the base of that is 10, right? Because we had mentioned that before, so it's 10. So we're going to take all of this and we're going to distribute to each one of those. So what does that look like? So it's going to be log base 10, so because we have to say that, right? Times 8 plus, because we're expanding, times into multiplication into addition, log base 10, and then I'm going to distribute this to the x as well. So x plus log base 10, and then y to the 4th power right there. Okay? So now we're going to take this now, and we're going to expand it further. So 8 can be broken down to 2 to the 3rd. So we're going to go log base 10, 2 to the 3rd right there, plus log base 10x plus, and now this 4 right here is going to be this rule right here. So that it says that if I have a power up here, I could always bring it to the front right there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this 4, bring it to the front. That gives me 4 log base 10 and then y. Now, since same idea, we're going to take this 3 and we're going to bring it up to the front. So we should now have as 3 log base 10 2 plus log of x plus 4 log base 10 and then y. So that's going to be your final answer on the expansion. So expand it as much as possible without leaving anything. So using all these three properties that we talked about, we're going to expand it as much as possible. Okay? Now we're going to go the other direction now and taking something that is expanded and we're going to condense it. So we're going to make it nice and tight just like these guys right here. So then I'm looking at it. The first thing you should do is look for if there's a number in front of the word log or ln. Now log and ln are basically the same rules. So since there is a number in front of ln in this case, it's the same idea as this right here. I have a number, and to condense it, we have to bring it back up here which then makes it look like this. So we're going to take this 2 right there. We're going to bring it back here. So then we have is ln x to the 5th minus ln, and then we have is xy to the 2nd power. Now, put it in that parentheses if it's originally parentheses, because we're saying this too. If I bring it back, we may have to distribute to each one of these guys, right? Because it's multiplication, so we may have to do that. Now, condensing the minus, so minus right here turns into division right there. So let's divide it. So we're factoring out the word ln, so we write it once, and then we have is x to the 5th divided by, and then we have is xy to the 2nd power. Okay, now this is not a final condensed form, because actually now I may want to distribute this 2 into each one of these guys right here and then condense it further. So then let's do that. So ln x to the 5th, and we have then is x to the 2nd, because we're going to take the 2nd power, distribute it, and then we have is also y to the 2nd. Now I could only distribute this if it's a multiplication sign right here. Right? If there's a multiplication, I can distribute each one of those. If it's a plus or minus, then we have to do the distribution properties or the foiling part right there. Okay? So in this case right here, since it's multiplication, then I can factor or cancel things out, right? So we can cancel out 2 of these guys and 2 from here as well, so we're left with 3 in this case. So then we have is then ln x to the 3rd divided by y to the 2nd. And that's your final condensed form right there. All right? So that's what we're going to do on this section for 3.4, properties of logarithmic functions.